Look at that. Think, bud.
I'm so stoked on this. I'm just really glad we've been able to find her and recover her.
It's, as you can tell, a lot of snow. It seems pretty bright, but it's 4 degrees and we got high winds. And I checked my camera yesterday. I have been feeding corn down over the bank here, and I've had 3 8-point rack bucks. Not big, but bucks coming in, and it's been 5 days and I don't have a deer with an antler on it now, so I assume they've lost it. They just haven't switched food sources. They could have, but I haven't had a picture of any horn, spike, nothing in 5 days. And I've got my cuddy back system on top of the hill that sends me the pictures, and at least 2 of those bucks, the one I call the white 8 and the acorn buck, has a little knot in his horn. And then there's the blind buck. I'm missing the one eye. I don't know what to call him yet, whether I'm going to call him Patch or Uno or whatever his name might turn out to be. But that's the buck I missed in bow season. Hit him low. You've got to be kidding me. I just grazed him. Just a little low. He'd have been dead. So I'm just gonna walk down where I'm feeding him and walk the trails to them other cameras. The reason I mention them other cameras is because they've been walking by that camera, at least 2 of them, to get down here by middle of the night. So I know they're bedding way up on top and just working their way down through. It's 3/4 of a mile back there, I guess. So time I get there, I'm gonna be tired. I might be too cold to make it that far. A lot of people look down on feeding them. I know I shouldn't. Probably the Game Commission says don't do it. It's not against the law to feed them. They just don't want you to feed them because of the disease. We have very low numbers right now between the coyotes and all the ones that have been shot with crop damage. We're losing a lot of deer. So, all right. Well, the main path. If you stand here and look, there's a main path goes underneath there, and right there. There's some other side ones. So. Covering ground, that's the second tip. Cover ground. Walk the paths, especially with this high snow at the crust. Walk the paths with the most activity. I don't have any big bucks that are going to be following completely separate paths. The older bucks, they won't come in on the same path a lot of times. So I'm just going to go through here and mill around, see what I can find. I'm going to change the camera card in this camera right here first. And then we're going to work our way across the stream up through the woods. Did I mention it's cold? I had a little spike buck that was damaged, and he was losing weight. And there's a deer here, probably only 65, 70 yards. It's my first deadhead of the year. And something's got him ate up pretty good, probably the coyotes, but that's too bad. It is too bad. But I kept getting pictures of him. He was thin. He just wasn't right. And I found him. Here he is. Oh, he's been dead a while. He's been dead a while. It's a little deer, little spiker, and I ought to stand him up. There he is. He's running. That's too bad. Just come across the creek and I'm following the heaviest trail. I see another dead head laying here. I wonder what deer it is. Appears to be that's a button buck, I think. Yep. 2 deer already dead. Oh, this one here had a pretty big wound right there on the top of its back. I believe the spike that I found dead was the one that the coyotes, it looked like coyotes, had tore its butt open and had its tail almost pulled off. And if I can locate it, I'll put the picture of that deer that I had. Come on by my camera. And I got pictures of this one. So this is the one that was shot through the top of the back. It wasn't the spike. And I kicked him up when I was checking my camera one day. I got about 5 feet from him and he jumped up, but he couldn't run. And he walked off this way, and here he lays dead, probably only 200 or 300 yards from where I seen him last. So that's 2 dead heads already. It's not good. Well, I know I'm following the biggest trail from that camera to the next camera where I know they walked by to get their picture. And I see from the side hill on the other side, I see a pretty good path going up through underneath one of my tree stands, and it's toward that camera. So that's one I'm going to hit. This time of year, I see something sticking out of the snow down there. I'm sure it's a stick, but I'm going to check and see if it is. I forgot my binoculars. So, well, 2 dead heads, no sheds. And it's cold. Well, it's been a while since I found that little button buck dead. But one of the other things I like to look in is beds. And they spend a lot of time in their beds, especially when it's cold. So you can lose antlers. Now here's a bed. There's no antler in it, but here's a bed. And you can see where the deer's been bedding. And that way is uphill, downhill the other way. Almost always a deer will bed looking down the hill. And this is a doe bed. Because if you look on the back side of the bed, now the bed stops right here and goes that way. You can see where the deer peed. And that's a doe because her pee comes out of the back of her. Now if I had a wet spot in the center of it, then I would say that was a buck bed because they'll urinate, and obviously the way they're made, that comes out the middle of them. So that's a doe bed, and I always look at beds. I found one of the biggest antlers I ever found. It was deep snow. I had pictures of a big buck that had lost one of his antlers. And I was just walking through, and I walked by the bed and my foot hit something, and I kicked a great big antler up. My cousin ended up shooting him next year. He scored in the high 130s, low 140s, I guess. So it was a nice buck. So I'm still trying to connect the dots. There's another bed laying right there. Just a really good bedding area. You see that bare spot, deer bed, but there's a big pine tree. Wind comes from the pine tree to that bedding area. So this deer was bedding behind that tree to keep the wind off it. I mean, they're not stupid. Like I said, we had 22 below zero last week ago today. And these deer gotta live out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 beds that I see right here. This is probably that doe group I've had with 4 deer. And they just picked another one up. So there's 5 of them. 6 beds here, but they could have transferred. So right there, under that tree is where I recovered my buck this year. And the first shed antler I found last year was right in that goldenrod, 50 yards ahead of me. So look out for big bedding areas, heavy cover where the wind's blocked from the deer. And that'll help me also in hunting season when that happens. So, ooh, I gotta get my gloves on. You can tell when you get deep snow. I don't know if you can see that hemlock. Everything from like my eye level, my nose level, down to the ground is completely gone. The deer have been browsing on that heavy, and they will eat hemlock when it gets cold. Actually, they'll eat it quite often, but that's a good food source, especially in the late season like this. And you can see underneath it where the deer have really been eating it up. So with this winter being as rough as it is, double digits below zero for a couple weeks now, it's going to weed out the weak ones. There's a good trail going here, and it breaks off to my camera. So I'm going to walk up here and angle around to my camera. And there's no question where the trail goes. And it goes right by my camera. I run my cameras year round. And I got the cutting link system. This is the cell camera. Some other cameras send pictures. This one, then they send it down. It's $10 a month if you pay it by the year. I paid a full year. And even though I don't get very many pictures, it kind of lets me keep an eye on the deer, the predators, and other people. Yeah. I gotta get back to the house soon. Having a hard time breathing this cold air. My camera's right there. I was just walking along this heavy trail looking at these beds, and look what I seen in a bed. My first antler. Oh, it's a giant one. That's my first one. It's got a little blood on it, so it hasn't been off terrible. But see what I was saying? You got to check these beds out. And this is a browsing area. If you look at this right here, you see the tip of that? I don't know if you can see it or not. That's what we call them little striped maples. And there's I mean, you can see them, they're everywhere. And they've been browsing on them. And I found my first antler. First one. I know I said that. My wife says I repeat myself. I don't think I do, but anyways, my wife says I repeat myself. Just kidding. I'm a few hundred yards from my house. All I found was that one. But we get some warm temps and melt some of this snow back. Might be able to get out and find a couple more. Well, it's what is it, 24th or 25th of February. And as you can tell, we finally got a good melt. We had about 18 inches of snow, and we had 3 or 4 days of 50-degree weather, and it melted a lot of it off finally. And I'm gonna see if I can make it to the top of the hill, check for some shed antlers, and see if we can add to that one count spike we got. So all right, I've been all over the top of the hill, and I got a camera right here. There's an antler laying right there. Let's go look at it. Oh, this has been covered with snow. Little fork corner. A little fork corner. That's been off for a while. There it is. It's a giant. It I think part of his skull come out with it, but it counts. It's an antler. I found a spike up on top a couple weeks ago, but we've had so much snow I just have not got out. It's February 26th, my dad's birthday, and I just brought him a 100-pound bag of corn for his birthday, and we're going to run up to where he's feeding the deer and put it out and just see if we can't find, possibly find a shed antler. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
78.
I don't feel any odor though.
No, that's good. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I'm gonna keep going like that.
Yep. Yeah.
This right here keeps me going.
There you go. And there's his logs on top of his roller for his food plots and drags. And the corn we just brought up. Looks like you've been playing tic-tac-toe or something out here.
Oh, the deer coming, we ought to find one. Oh, I think this goes, I see something over here. See? What I was looking at.
Ha, there's one right there.
Here.
Yeah, half an 8-pointer. You, that's your first shed of the year, isn't it?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, first shed.
How big a deer is that? It's probably a year old. Whoops.
That's not a bad
Probably
deer.
a year old deer.
Yeah.
Well, he might be a
fine.
two. He might be a 2-year-old. It's hard to tell.
Probably rubbing, you know, when it's soft.
Yep. Yep. Cool.
Yep.
Got an antler.
That's not bad.
I got one other thing I want to show you. I want you to tell me the story behind it. We'll let you.
What's that?
You remember this?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
got to be the world's. Hold that up there with the other glove, just with one.
Wow. That's just like that one that's a Jeremy.
Same one.
Yeah.
I've had it for all these years.
Yeah. That's
Tell-
a big horn.
Tell him about how he found
That's
it.
a trophy.
Yeah. Tell him about how he found it.
Oh, Jeremy and I was down in along the gully hunting. And
Looking for sheds, right?
looking for sheds. And I was up above him and he was walking up along the creek and he looked down a stone here that laid this big horn.
Right in the middle of the creek.
Right in the middle of the creek on top of a rock.
That's got.
And he called me on the phone and he says, "Boy, you ought to see the one I just found." Well, I got down there and this is what he had in his hand.
That's funny. And he gave it to you.
Yeah.
And then you give it to me, and I've had it ever since. It's been a few years, but
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how long. I remember having pictures of him. Remember we had pictures, and he kept. There's that little tiny spike, and there he is.
Yeah, I think he's about 1.5 inches long.
Yeah, it's small. It's the world's smallest spike.
He is big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. I think we're just whipping a dead horse. There's just so much snow in here. The only way we're going to find an antler is if we tripped over it, or like the one out in the food plot that just right out in the middle of the open. But, well, we get some good weather. We'll be back. Maybe we can get some more antlers. And we'll see you next time on How To Outdoors. God bless you, man. Take care.